I only wish I had Redbeard's beard.
Right.
Wow.
I wish I had come in his beard.
Well, you got a better brain. Anyway, so hey there, beer tubers. Welcome back to Beer Analysis 101 with your host, Macwell Star.
Hey, Nick, how are you this evening?
I'm not doing too bad.
Good. You seem very happy tonight.
I'm in a kind of a good mood tonight because
The drugs are kicking in.
Yes, no. I mean, it's since October 5th, I've lost 40 pounds, so it's official. Yay! I'm a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm the only one
I got a bit more of the turkey neck going on, but at least it's not like puffed out jowls like I used to have.
That's my best birthday present ever.
Right. Yes, that's right. Because it was 4 months ago was your birthday, and just all of a sudden I started leaking weight. Not as fast as you did. You saved the best.
Leaking weight.
Like how much weight have you lost, Scott?
That sounds terrible.
65 pounds.
60.
Jesus Christ.
That's Ozempic for you. See, I'm not on Ozempic.
Yeah,
all right.
Cheating, so that's a difference.
Hey, only 80% of that's Ozempic. The other 20% is stress.
You have a
okay. All right.
Probably a TMI question, but do you have like a lot of hanging skin, Scott? Because that's like a lot of weight to lose pretty quickly.
Scott's
starting to around my belly.
Do you got like a gunt?
A gunt?
No, not yet. But it's very loose, and like my skin is very loose on me.
Oh, okay.
And my legs too. Like I can pinch all kinds of skin now.
Well, once you're over your case of diabetes, we'll fatten you up again.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually really close to that. Like it's the Ozempic and the drugs I'm on are doing quite well in that.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah,
That's good.
Because I mean, it's like adult onset type 2, so you can put that into remission.
You can. It's not going to happen, but you can. Yeah. If I was
people, that's all.
Yeah, but so it's in my bloodline, right? Like all my relatives have type 2 diabetes, so it's almost impossible for me to get.
Are you
get rid of
actually
it.
on insulin at all? Like, do you produce insulin still? Okay, there you go. See, at least there's some.
Once if I get to the max Ozempic and all my other drugs, then I go to and then drop all that other drug.
By the summer, probably can't take you on a bike ride because you might get flaps of skin stuck in the spokes.
Jesus.
You'd be like riding like one of those. Remember when we used to put cards in our bicycle spokes? Like
Jesus Christ, Nick, you're like the worst friend ever.
I do remember that, and that's not nearly as horrific as the thing.
You're skin flap shaming, and then like Scott's gonna get his skin ripped off, and he's just gonna be like like Hellraiser, where he's just like the skinless corpse riding a bike. Terrifying.
Sec, Brandon.
You okay? Hold on. I'm more apt to dying due to exhaustion than dying because the skin flaps went into spokes of my bike.
Okay, so let's go with how are you tonight, Scott?
Terrible now.
Now that you've ruined everything.
We're just adding you to the stress.
Yeah. You're making me lose those poundages.
Am I really? I thought it was
10%
Ozempic.
You're the 20%. By the way, if you put your weight loss with my weight loss, that's 100 pounds.
Yeah, Nick, why do you have to keep making Scott feel smaller and physically become smaller just to boost your own ego? That's
right. Right. Trying to be the big man on campus, are you, Nick?
Is a narcissist. Why can't I? No.
That's a trait. That's a trait from my mother.
Again, but do you guys realize between the two, you guys have basically given birth to Redbeard. That's how much weight you
guys lost. All right. So, tonight I didn't announce it because we got talking about shit right off from the bat. We're doing a show in Swill tonight because, well, not everybody can get a bottle. But So hey, Brandon. Scott.
Oh, Brandon's here.
Can hear you.
Wait, give me a sec. I gotta adjust my settings here. 1 sec. I was a little late coming in. I was in the middle of doing something. 1 sec.
All right, but please don't interrupt Nick. He gets really upset when you do that.
Yep.
Yeah, and don't tell him about good things about your life, because then he'll dig you another hole.
About sticking skin flaps into the bicycle.
Can you hear me right now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, you don't have to reboot the computer or change.
No, I'm a little messed up. I'm a little out of breath. I was just scrambling here to get ready.
All right, so Scott, what did you bring for beer tonight?
I did find a bottle.
Ooh.
Tonight I brought
Beer Moretti.
From Italia.
Fancy. All right, we will circle around and get your history in a moment here. Let's go over to the next person you showed up first. Mr. Lee. How you doing tonight, Lee?
I'm doing great, Nicholas. How you doing, you piece of shit?
Yeah, I don't know. I turned a victory into a bad a loss right there, didn't I? When I started talking about creepy shit like bicycles.
You did. Everyone was happy, and then you know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it was Greg that started off by asking Scott if he had flappy skin.
No, now here you are trying to lay the blame on another person too. You got to take responsibility for your own negative actions.
Yeah. Why don't I just start a game stream and then pay attention to the people who love me?
Holy shit!
Wow.
I'm voting Nick off the island.
Yeah.
All right, Lee, what'd you bring with you tonight?
So go figure. I brought something from Tatamagouche because it seems to be that's all I buy anymore. That's newer and interesting. I have Ciro Czech Dark Lager from Tatamagouche.
Ciro.
Yeah. Sitting at 5.1% alcohol by volume.
Nice. All right, let's go around and over to Mr. Greg. Greg, how you doing tonight, Greg?
You know, Nick, if you make the show more appealing to 12-year-olds, you'd have up to and including double-digit viewers.
No cap.
So,
No cap.
Riz something. I don't know.
I don't know.
The Rizzler.
Get a new drip on YouTube, or what?
Yeah. I don't know.
Stop it, Nick.
Right.
Just stop. Greg, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing. What was that weird noise that I just heard? Anyway.
It's Nick dying a slow death.
No, okay. I thought it was like Lee's soundboard or something. I'm doing absolutely fantastic today. How are you guys doing? We already know Scott's doing well. Lee's doing well.
Doing all right.
Nick, Brandon, I didn't ask you. Nick, how are you doing?
He said, like, I didn't ask Brandon. Nick, how are you doing? What? No, I already told you at the start of the show. 40 pounds,
okay.
happy, good. How's
Okay,
Brandon?
well, now you have a duck on your face. So I'm a little concerned that you may not be doing so well. So, but anyways, and I'm just kidding, Brandon. I care about how you're doing, but you gotta wait your turn to tell us how you're doing. Anyways, I actually brought up the big guns. Although now that Brandon's here, I've got at least one less chance of winning because I know he won't like this. But I decided to bring out the big guns and bring
Bone shaker.
No, it's a Bring Out Your Dead 2025.
Oh, bring out your dead.
And you know what? Even though I'm expecting probably not to love this, as is the way with Bellwood's barrel-aged stouts lately, I'm excited that they went back to the old label of thing. Actually, I'll show you guys quickly because for a while, that's the old label. And then they switched over to, they called it BYOD for a while and made it less of a cool label. It still has the crow, but it's not nearly as cool as the old label.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were trying to be politically correct or something. They didn't want to have dead in the word because, well, I mean, this has never been available at the LCBO, but I don't know if they're trying to I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do.
Maybe the connection was like so nerdy that it went over everyone's heads because there's that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where the plague has hit a town and the guy's going with the cart, bring out your dead. Maybe it was like
I'm not dead yet.
Yeah. And maybe it was like, maybe that was like during COVID times. And they're like, maybe we shouldn't associate with like a pandemic right now. Maybe that's not a good idea.
No. You know what? That's actually a good point. Bring out your dead pandemic. Probably not kosher.
Well, yeah. So again, maybe you guys are solving this question for me now. Am I mistaken? I thought that was actually an Army of Darkness reference.
Nope.
No,
I thought
Monty Python.
I mean, it might be in.
I thought right at the beginning when they're going to supposedly execute Bruce Willis in the pit, I thought they said bring out your dead as well.
Well,
apparently you came from the Berenstain universe because Bruce Campbell is in the Army of Darkness movie in this universe.
Who did I say?
You said Bruce Willis.
Okay, well now that's the movie I want.
He's like yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, and then
I want Bruce Willis in Army of Darkness. Okay, that's something I want now. But okay,
and probably Army of Darkness got it from Monty Python. Monty Python came out first.
If indeed they did do it anyway.
That's true. It did. Well, I'll have to check if it's even in there. But I was, anyways, I'm glad they brought up Bring It Your Dead. I love this label. It's always been one of my favorite labels. The beer, I guess we're going to find out, but yay for the new label. Cause let's be honest, the Crow's cool, but not nearly as cool as he is.
Yeah, I like the original label better. I love the casket in the background.
Yeah, no, it's one of the all-time best labels. I don't know if Bellwoods has switched their artist or not, but they used to have an amazing artist that did labels, and their new labels just aren't very interesting at all. I don't think they're actually, because it was actually an actual artist that runs his own art studio in Toronto that did their labels.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know, maybe he became too expensive or something.
Yeah, like back when Bellwoods first started, I remember they had some pretty sick labels, and they just
they had some great ones, and their new ones are just like they're boring. They're just some design that says an IPA.
Maybe maybe he died of COVID and they threw him in the plague wave.
I mean,
someone else might be going into plague.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sorry to whoever's dying of the plague in the background, but yeah, no, it's well, I guess we'll have to find out about if this is any good. And as for the artist, is he dead? I don't know, but they're still using his artwork apparently.
Yeah.
Speaking of bringing out your dead, hey Brandon.
Hi Brandon.
Hey Brandon.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could hear you before, dude. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you doing tonight?
Oh, good. I got Kingfisher.
Kingfisher Indian lager.
Yep, just a lager, but something that my buddy showed me when I was in Halifax on the weekend that they have in one of their craft liquor stores there, and it's big in India. But
okay.
Where were you? Where were you at? Was it like Bishop Cellar or Harvest Wine?
It was. Where was it? It was not far from Clayton Park. It's
Bayers Lake.
I don't know exactly what the place was called actually. My buddy lives near Clayton Park. It's like wasn't far from there.
Okay.
But they have a lot of different craft beers and craft drinks and stuff. They have a lot of different import stuff that it's like a liquor store that's just like mainly unique stuff.
Yeah, you were telling me about it at work there. I can't remember the name of the site. You showed me the receipt.
Yeah, and I threw the receipt out at work. I can't remember exactly what
that's good. It wasn't Rockhead or Bishop Cell. Like Bishop Cell is like
it was a liquor store, but it was like a It
wasn't the one that was next to a Sobeys, is it? Or is it? Oh, that's the one in Dartmouth I'm thinking of.
No.
That's in Bishop's, I think.
It was in a little strip mall.
Rockhead.
It was in a little strip mall, maybe a kilometer from Clayton Park area. It was something called like something wine and spirits, maybe.
Harvest Wine and Spirits.
I think Harvest changed their name to Rockhead. No, that's not. That was Premier. Sorry.
Give me 1 sec. I'll find it exactly here. 1 sec. Oh shit! Yeah, if I had the receipt.
Oh, it was West Side Beer, Wine, and Spirits. Is that it?
Ah, okay.
That sound right?
Don't know this one.
I don't know. It's not far from Clayton Park. It was like a 5-minute drive from my buddy's place. He lives on Camelot Lane, in the apartment building. But
it's this one. You know, I remember looking at the site after you showed me the receipt.
It's a 5-minute drive.
Yes, West Side.
Just give us his address and his social security number, and
yeah.
All right. Yeah, cool. Because I remember telling you that the Kingfisher was kind of jealous because I remember we used to get it here, and then it disappeared before I could.
I never had it.
Got heavy enough in craft beer to buy one, but I always kind of wanted to try it, even if it is just a lager.
Okay, so they're basically just they're just
Harvest Wine and Spirits. Maybe that's it. Maybe
no. It's West Side, but the thing is that they're the same. They have to be the same company as Harvest Wine because they have exactly the same fucking website basically.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't far.
Harvest is the one that's in the Dartmouth Sobeys, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah.
Whereabouts do you live? If you don't mind me asking, down there, like.
I'm in the Annapolis Valley in Greenwood.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
And all we need now is address and social security number of Lee.
Yeah, so you can rob me of all the money I have. Yeah.
No, I'm just gonna buy a house in your name.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty good though.
I already have a house in my name. I don't need another one.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, it's pretty good.
Rubbing it in.
Just a
He's
logger
house-
though.
he's-
It's not
he's house
nothing
shaming you.
fancy.
He's gonna apply to pay for your mortgage, Lee.
I don't have a mortgage. That's paid off.
Oh well, then he's gonna
Oh, wow.
remortgage your house and then pay that.
No, I'm not gonna pay that. I'm just gonna mortgage the house
Yeah.
and take the money. Do a reverse mortgage.
Jesus.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Brandon. Let's go over to me for a second. Pay attention to me. It's all about me.
Hi,
right?
Nick.
Hi,
Yeah.
hi, Greg.
Fuck you,
Okay.
Nick.
It is your show.
All right. So I get a beer from Distille Fistois. I even got the proper glassware,
Nice.
which I bought at the brewery when I was up there with Scott almost about 3.5 years ago. This is Grand Arrangement. Strong Belgian style beer. So I believe when I was reading the thing about it, this is like think Duvel,
Okay.
like a Belgian strong pale.
So golden pale ale, yeah.
Golden pale, yeah. So it's got a blurb on the back, mostly in French, but it says Grand Arrangement, which I'll get into that in a sec here. But Grand Arrangement is a strong 8.5% alcohol by volume blonde ale, paying tribute to the commemorative monuments of the Grand Arrangement. These were inaugurated by the Société Nationale de l'Acadie throughout the greater Acadia region. Like I remember seeing, I forget if there's one in St. John, but I know there's one of these up on the Halifax waterfront, like these signs talking about the Grand Arrangement and how like the expulsion of the Acadians. Because Fistois was founded by an Acadian guy from Petite Paquetteville up in the Acadian Shore of New Brunswick, so which has some pretty freaking great beers. Cool. So I'll get into more of that later when I talk about my history with them. So yeah, we got 2 comments, but the guy who posted them is on our channel.
Oh, we got a new one.
So we actually have a different comment. So hearing Nick try to speak Francais is almost comically horrible as hearing me try to speak French.
Yeah. He does a good job of speaking French.
Oui.
Yeah.
We need Justin on the show or some show to tell us all about the plane crashes that have been happening lately, and tell us why air travel is still supposedly safe, even though a lot of people died.
Well,
admittedly, it hasn't got the greatest track record the last.
It's safe when you hire enough people to fucking do the job and cover the job when people, but that's.
It's not so good. It's not so good when you use DEI hirings, right?
Oh God, it's safe.
Just
when
another DEI guy.
It's safe when you don't fly a helicopter in the military helicopter across the path of a commercial jet. But
yeah.
All right.
What do you got? Any experience? So I played the Microsoft Flight Simulator once. All right, you're in.
Jeez. What is this? 9/11. Anyway, so
Justin. I know he's the worst today.
All right.
And Justin actually flies planes.
All right, Scott. Yeah, he flies planes and he does it on Microsoft Flight Simulator.
He's still alive, so at least he's competent at it.
It's true. The thing is, Justin's the only one here who's flown a real plane. Scott, what's your history with the beer you got?
This is the first time I've drank it. So it's a product from Italy. It's a 4.8% alcohol by volume. The Italian passion for brewing. I didn't know the Italians had a passion for brewing.
They do.
It is brewed by Heineken Italia, and from Italy. Return for refund. But I do believe it's brewed locally in Quebec. Yeah. I don't know where it's from. I do see it's from Quebec, but I don't know exactly what brewery it comes from.
I forget who owns it. What's the parent? It was Heineken, right? So what brewery owns Heineken?
Owns the right to
Canada.
Owns the right to produce Heineken stuff. They have unique bottles. The bottles actually are embossed, so no one else can use them. They're also a lot smaller. It's not a full like a
Molson.
Molson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a 330 bottle?
Yeah. Yep. It's not a full bottle. Anyway, yeah. And there's an Irish guy having and it is a lager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where?
A premium lager.
Why would you assume that's an Irish guy on there?
Oh, sorry, Italian guy. I said Irish. Italian guy.
He's an Italian guy.
Well, Irish because he's green. He's dressed all in green.
Green's an Italian color too.
I know.
All right.
Goes with the red and the right.
We should really think about doing that as a BA 101 if we can all get it. I don't know if it's in Nova Scotia or not.
I think I can get cans of beer Moretti if I'm not mistaken.
All right, that'd be a good one to do. All right, thank you, Scott. Let's go over to Lee and get his history, l'histoire on his Tatamagouche Zero.
Yeah, so the Zero, I picked it up for the latest beer package I bought from them a week or so ago. So I've been enjoying it since. It says on the website, as the sun dips below the horizon and the world is bathed in twilight, Zero emerges, a beer as enchanting as the evening sky. So it's a full-flavored, highly crushable Czech-style dark lager. They say that there's been several additions of Czech Saaz hops as they brew it, using soft water, and Zero, I guess, in Czechoslovakian means like gloomy, dark, dusk, that sort of thing, twilight. It's kind of a catch-all for darkness, basically. So that's why they chose the name for it. And that's my history.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Lee. Let's move over to absent Greg. At least Greg's back.
I'm still here, Nick. My history. Well, technically, this is my first bottle of this. It's also my last bottle of this because I only have one bottle. Yeah, this is the 2025 one. I have had other Bring Out Your Deads all the way dating back to here. Look at this. I'll show you my shelf of stupid bottles that I should really throw out. Like we got all these various Bring Out Your Deads, but this is the good one. This is the very first Bring Out Your Dead, 10% ABV.
Ooh.
Came out in
Greg's beer bottle hoarding collection.
Came out in 2013. Well, it's a shelf in my bar, Nick. I don't know what else I'm going to put here. I really have nothing else to do. Is the problem?
Is the current Bring Out Your Dead like an 8.5?
Sorry, in terms of ABV?
Yeah.
No, the current one is 11.3.
Oh, so it went up. Oh.
Yeah, well, it's actually gone down because the first one was 10%. Then I think they went into the 12-13% range, and then they started bringing them back down again into sort of the 11% range. So, and then there's also the double Bring Out Your Dead. So, I mean, I think I've had basically every Bring Out Your Dead they've had. I mean, potentially I may have missed one or something along the way, but I'm pretty sure I've had them all or close to them all. And yeah, I mean, I'll say I have my thoughts on where the series has gone. The first Bring Out Your Dead, well, the first even few years of Bring Out Your Dead was among some of the best beer I think Bellwoods had ever made. And let's just say there's a reason I used to buy a case of it at a time, and now I buy one bottle at a time. So
just because you were drinking them way too often.
The quick getting
I was. Well, yes and no. I was actually trying to save them all. I was trying to cellar them. That's the word I was looking for. Then one year, a bunch of them were infected, and I was past the point of being able to return them. And I had about at least 6 of them that were infected. So, at over $20 a bottle, I kind of got a little annoyed at that. So
wow. Yeah.
I've sort of learned that maybe they're not necessarily the most safe beer.
The time your stashed bottle at Bring Your Dead got Sexton.
They got Sexton. Well, Sexton got an early bottle that was infected because other people I sent it to, and all the ones I drank the first 6 months, totally fine. And then suddenly I start drinking them. Like, oh no, some of these are infected. Oh no, oh no.
That's wild.
I still drank them all because I'm like, fuck this. It's just a sour beer now and it tastes terrible, but I still paid for it, so I want to drink it.
And Nick,
You're paying for the alcohol.
I found an
Yeah,
IPA
exactly.
I really like, Nick, that Tropical Storm Category 7 from Good Robot.
I mean, you don't have to do the Kingfisher if you don't want to.
No, I'm saying I already drank this one, though. I found an
you
IPA
did?
I like.
Okay.
You already drank that
Oh,
one.
I
awesome.
like it. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that in a bit. All right,
Yeah.
so
That's my history, Nick. That's
awesome. Yeah, I remember you buying cases of like Bring Out Your Dead and Double Tempest and getting so smashed on BA 101s or Hangouts that you'd be like, I remember the time
that's the old Greg. Now I'm a responsible alcoholic.
yeah, you're the responsible Goodyear liver, Greg, where you detox every once in a while. And like I still remember like the time that I woke up for work and I found you still on the Hangout. And, you'd passed out on the couch. I'm getting ready for work and I see Greg over there like on the screen, like I had to wake you up.
Yeah, and I think I believe I actually had work that day too. So I don't totally remember if I actually went or if I just pulled a Brandon and called in sick.
All right. Okay. So let's move over. Who we got next?
The Brandonator.
I think this is the Brandonator. All right, Brandon. What's your history of that Kingfisher?
I don't have
Not
any
much
history with it at all.
Yeah.
But I got looking into it. It's from India. They got a few breweries though in India, the UK, and New York. Apparently, this one's from the UK. From what was it called? One sec here. It was from Hartpool, UK. Apparently in India, it's a big thing to have a side with a spicy curry meal. It's like India's #1 beer, and in the UK, it's like in their top 30% of like share for beer market. Other than that, I don't know much about it. It's a lager. It's a pretty simple lager. But
Do you have it poured already?
no, I'm just
Still got
So do it up.
now.
Do it up.
Pour it out.
Sorry.
Well, don't pour it out. Just
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
I
Nope.
just rain poured it, Nick, just like you told me.
The sad part is I think Brandon would do it too. How's it look? So your history is about
good.
that.
Looks pretty carbonated.
Yeah.
See here, it is just.
It looks pretty reddish.
No, it's actually, it looks redder on the camera than it looks more yellow here. But
Okay.
Okay.
It'd just be lighting.
All right. Good.
All right.
And then Nick,
Yep.
we'll get to your numbers there later, Brandon.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, because everybody in turn. Okay, so my history with Fistawa goes back. Oh shit! When did Fistawa first start? I think it was just after Neely died. It was sort of a way to bring the chat down.
Bring the chat down.
Yeah, I think it was like 2015. In fact, does anybody remember that video clip of one of the Albino hangouts where at his place where I had a bottle of barley wine that blew up? And I was like, Jesus fuck. You'd have to see the video. Chances are the one viewer who is watching this is either seen it and doesn't care, or I'm referencing something that nobody knows.
It's just Brandon with his YouTube still open.
Yeah, it's
Maybe that viewer's dead too.
Yeah,
maybe that viewer's dead.
Maybe that viewer's dead too, or dead to me. Okay, so anyway, so going back, like that one brewery that made a barley wine, I tried to take the Albino bottle share and it blew up. That was Fistawa years ago. They have since really turned everything around. I mean, that barley wine was good when it was fresh anyway, but they're a distillery and brewery located up in Petite Paquettefield, New Brunswick, which is like in the northeast corner of the province, and in a predominantly French-speaking part of the province too. So the like Acadian French. Anyway, so I've actually been to the brewery a couple of times over the years. Once, the first time I went with Scott, which is when I got this glass at the brewery, and we had a pretty good tour. You remember that, Scott, right?
It was very good.
And you know what, Scott? I actually did finally upload these videos over the summer.
Good.
2 years late. They're also a distillery. In fact, I just happened to have a bottle of their Gin Thuya under my desk. Maybe I should mix these. Probably not.
Is that a Polish beer or something?
What, this? No, this is a gin.
Oh,
Made by the same people.
No, the reason I ask is because dziękuję is basically a Polish word for thank you. So I was wondering if that was like a spin on that word.
I mean, it could be. I'm not really sure why they call it Tuya. Anyway, moving right along. This is the first time I've had this one. And I feel like I've heard of this before, but I can't find this beer on Untapped. But I feel like this is like, I've heard of this one. Maybe it's like a very special release that they do. But there really isn't a lot of information online on Grand Derangement. With a funny hair going on. So yeah. I might as well. That's what it looks like right now. It's kind of got a. I won't get too much in detail. It definitely looks redder on camera. But take a look at this. It is a very beautiful looking Belgian blonde ale. All right, that's my history on this. I mean, all I did is this one. I just picked it up at the liquor store, but they didn't really have a lot of them.
That trip was a really nice trip.
Yeah, I was thinking we should really think about doing that again if you want to.
Yep. Well, I mean, once I get my life back in order, right?
Well, that's true too. First things first, man. All right. We'll read the comments, which we have 0. So we'll just turn over to shoot the shit for a little bit. Okay, Brandon, now you can talk.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I tried.
Shut up, Brandon.
It smells really. It smells kind of like vanilla. It's got a nice like smell to it. It smells sweet and vanilla, but it doesn't taste like that.
All right, save the tasting notes for your little
really
review.
Mellow tasting. It tastes kind of like a Stella Artois, but it's not as skunky and it's more. I don't know how to describe it, but.
So is that actually from India, like that bottle, or is
this
it?
bottle is from the UK?
It was brewed in the UK.
They have three. Yeah. They have 3 breweries. Apparently, one's in India. The main one, India, is where it's from, but they have a brewery.
Pay attention, Nick.
In the UK, and they have a brewery in New York too. But this one's from the UK. I can't remember the name of the place, but it was like on some coast of the UK. It was.
You say Hartlepool or something like that?
Hartlepool. Hartlepool, UK. This is where this bottle's from.
It was probably cheaper to import it from. It was probably cheaper to import it from UK than it was to import it from the America.
Well,
yeah, but it's weird they have a New York brewery too, so I don't know, but
yeah, it's probably cheaper to import it from the UK than it is to import it from America.
But anyway, it originally in India, it's like their #1 beer, and in most places in the UK, it's like 30% of their market share of beer. It's like a lot of people highly regard it there, but to me, it just tastes like a standard lager. I don't find anything special about it. It tastes like maybe a little less skunky Stella Artois, a more mellow. It's like carbonated just as much, but sorry, I'm not good at describing. I don't really notice any extreme flavors or anything. It's a little hoppier than a normal lager, I guess. Like it's like a little bit hoppier for a lager, but
so Hartlepool is up above Middlesbrough and south of Newcastle upon Tyne. So like up on the
smooth.
Up on the northeast shore of England, below the Scotland border. It's
like a more flavorful Coors or Bud, like Coors Light or Bud Light. It's like a more flavorful, I guess. Like slightly, I don't even want to say thicker, but it feels like it's not really thicker, but it feels like it is.
It's got a thicker mouth feel, as Nick was trying to make a sex joke.
More oily kind of. I don't know how to explain it.
That's what she said.
A little more oily. I don't know.
Yeah.
little more viscous.
Yeah.
More vanilla.
But it's smooth and it's a lager, so it's not bad.
Lager's a lager.
Yeah, I really don't know how to rate it. Sorry, I don't go on here that often. Like, what's the rating you rate out of 5?
Yeah, but we usually do that at the end of the show. We'll just go back around again and get our final thoughts.
Whatever. He's giving his thoughts. Let him rate it.
No,
Yeah, just write them down.
I'm a newbie. I'm a noob here.
Yeah.
I mean, he can rate it. Who cares? He's already given his thoughts.
Stupid things like structure.
I'll wait my turn.
Just let him.
Oh yeah, no. Usually in the middle of the episode,
I find it's like a Stella Artois, but a little less skunky and a little sweeter taste, but it's smooth.
Yeah. Usually in the middle of the episode, we just shoot the shit about whatever, like talk about any kind of subject, and then we'll go back to like it's just kind of thing. Like we'll sit and drink the beer for a while, digest what we think about the beer, and then come back with some thoughts by the end of it. So, but usually in the middle is the funny part where we shoot the shit and blame Greg for all of the problems.
There's no skunkiness at all. I find like some beers like Alpine or Stella Artois, you get a little bit of skunkiness. This doesn't have any of that.
Oh, yeah.
And the smell, it smells more vanilla. Like it smells like a vanilla scent.
Actually, sounds kind of interesting, really.
But it tastes just like it's a smooth lager. It's carbonated, but it's hard to explain. Yeah, it doesn't have any.
You're a smooth lager.
But it's hoppy. It's slightly hoppier than most lagers.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you a fun story about my beer that doesn't really go into a review just yet. So actually, I hate to bring up his name again, but Carrie asked this question actually, either offline
on
or
a scale of Carrie fingers from 1 to 5.
I can't remember.
Why
No,
but here tonight? Why isn't Carrie?
He's playing video games with 12-year-olds, and I wish I was joking, but I'm not. So, anyways, I was always under the impression that this was a barrel-aged version of their Hellwood Stout, because it was when it first came out. That's what they literally said. This is a cognac barrel-aged or Hellwood Stout. But then when I mentioned that last time, Carrie said, oh, but there's a version that came out that wasn't Hellwood's. It was called I'm Not Dead. And it was this beer that was non-barrel aged, and frankly, it was terrible. It was flat and syrupy.
Like
it was syrupy as fuck. So I did some research on this. Yes, I've actually done some research for this show. So as it turns out, the first, I don't know how many, 4 vintages were still Hellwoods, and they were barrel aged, which is why they were so freaking good, because Hellwoods was actually it's on its own. They only bring it out once a year, but on its own, it's actually a pretty good imperial stout. And then when they barrel aged it, they made the original Bring Out Your Dead, which is just fucking delicious. Apparently at some point, and I'm not exactly sure where the cutoff was, they decided they were going to make a new stout that was literally designed for Bring Out Your Dead. And that stout is syrupy as fuck. And they only brought out I'm Not Dead once, and I don't think they'll ever bring it out again because it was fucking awful. But again, it still forms the base of this beer. The barrel aging changes it for sure, but it's like with Scotch. I mean, if you don't have a good base malt, then it's not going to be you can barrel age the fuck out of it. It's still probably not going to be that good. So I don't want to lead too much into my review, but I will say for anyone that even gives a shit why Bring Out Your Dead may have been better back in the day, figured it out. It's because it used to be a different base stout.
Did they stop for a while making it?
No, they made it every year consistently, pretty much. But at some point they decided we're not going to do our base stuff. The other thing is Hellwoods used to be a stout that was available from them all the time. Like it was one of their regular lineups. Okay. Now they release it once a year in October. So I don't know why that is. I really don't know why, because it's a pretty good stout. Like I don't know why it's not always available
all the time. Yeah.
So maybe the ingredients to it, maybe there's some issue getting certain ingredients to it. I don't know.
But it's a seasonal beer.
Yeah, but why they decided to make that switch, I'd love to know. I'd love to speak to somebody at Bellwoods and figure out what their thought process is on it. But going any further, we'll go into my review, so I'll hold off for now.
Has it always been a seasonal beer though, or did they?
Okay, so Bring Out Your Dead has always been a seasonal release. Okay. They release it. Usually they bring out one Bring Out Your Dead per year. It used to be October. It used to be an October release, but it's not anymore. They usually bring out one version of Double Bring Out Your Dead, which is usually a double barrel Bring Out Your Dead.
Okay.
But this one's a double barrel. This one's a double barrel technically, even
Should
though they're
be
both
good.
they're both Armagnac barrels though. But they are different vintages of barrel age. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
I think it's Armagnac, similar to cognac.
Yakety yak.
But often what they'll do is they'll mix a bourbon barrel or a rye barrel, or I think the last double was I think it was Armagnac and then a rye barrel. I think they mixed together. So technically, I guess this isn't a double, but this does come from actually two different I guess vintages of, but it's the same liquor they aged it in. So to answer your question, yes, it has always been a CISO. That hasn't changed. Hellwood's, the base stout that I'm talking about, was for like the first few years of Bellwood's existence, at least the first 3 years, maybe longer. It was their go-to stout, always available. Go there anytime. It's always there. Suddenly they got rid of it, and now it's available typically once per year in October, and that's it. You miss it. So why that is, I don't know. Because I have a lot of issues with Bellwoods, but every time I have Hellwoods, it's a great stout, and I would buy that from them on a regular basis, despite the fact that I have other issues with a lot of their beers and especially their prices. But nowadays with Toronto prices, frankly, Bellwoods is starting to become more reasonable. I ran out of breath there.
Okay.
And then the American prices are going to just jump up.
Yeah.
Or not be available at all.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, well, if we do that, if that stupid thing happens, yeah, it's likely it's not going to be available at all. But here's hoping that that stupidity doesn't come into play. I think it has to do with certain orange gorillas waving their big dicks around. But anyway, we won't get political.
Where are you at, Scott? If you don't mind me asking.
Speaking, me? Just I live in the same city as Nick does.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've known Nick for way too long.
Yeah.
Scott's been my one of my best friends since like junior high.
Yeah.
You remember my buddy that used to work for Moosehead that got screwed over by them?
Yeah. Okay.
Scott.
Okay.
Scott.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
He's the one that got fucked over by Moosehead.
So you're still here. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
He almost wasn't. Yeah. You actually went to PEI and then you moved back when you got a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I took that comment a whole different way there for a second. Where I really went dark in my mind. Oh, it's good that you didn't off yourself after Moosehead sacked your ass.
Well, I mean, the way Nick is talking today, you'd never know.
Jesus, Scott sounds like he's hosting an old World of Worlds broadcast.
Yeah.
I was just being, I wasn't saying like
I had an idea.
Name or hurt yourself by sticking your flaps of skin in the bike spokes. I was just making like cool flappy noise.
Jesus Christ.
You're really obsessed with that image.
It's like having a leather jacket, right? It's like
wow.
You can't take it off.
If Scott dies in a terrible bike accident, is Nick gonna wear his skin as
no? He's just gonna ride over. He's gonna ride over my deceased body. Another speed bump.
You're just gonna slough your old skin off and just molt like a
snake. Are you calling me a snake, Nick?
No, maybe he was calling you a tarantula. They do that.
I don't feel that shouldn't be turning me on, but it does for some reason. Scott,
I'm just like, hey, I'm probably gonna
like a hermit crab.
I'm probably gonna run into the same shit. I can't do it yet, but I mean, I'm probably gonna run into the same shit where loose skin and everything is.
No loose skin here.
I love how Nick's just like envisioning him and his immediate friends and family are all just apparently going to be involved in a body horror movie at some point.
It's like, how's the guns working? I've been working my arms more lately, so it's just like, nah, it still doesn't look that impressive.
Have you been what exercises are you doing, Nick?
That's why his right arm is bigger than his left.
Yeah.
That's why he showed you his right arm, not his left. Look at his left; it's skin and bones.
Yeah.
Right, look at that left. Look at that left. It's skin and bones. And look at that right.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, Nick's doing some.
Yeah, you should.
Right, Nick?
Yeah, Nick, didn't anyone tell you should use both arms when you're boxing that speed bag?
You have to wait for the other arm. You got to even that other arm out.
No, you know his favorite piece of machinery, the shake it weight.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the jerk weights. Yeah, I remember this. Remember they made that? Didn't they make like a weird noise?
Now I want someone to isolate Nick doing that motion and make it a GIF.
Jamie,
this is for you.
Just make it a GIF, post it on the chat.
Scott right now is like, he sounds like he's coming to us from like the 1940s doing a broadcast about World War II.
Oh, your headset died?
From the moon. like Neil Armstrong from the moon.
If just in, the Germans are attacking.
It's more like H.G. Wells doing his broadcast of War of the Worlds.
But our friends in England have pushed the Hun back across the Italian border.
Had to switch headsets. It's my crappier headset.
I know. Yeah, we can tell.
Definitely is.
Now he just sounds like one of those DEI.
It sounds like your skin is flapping suddenly.
Right. But I still sound better than whatever's coming out of Nick's mouth.
Sounds like someone called in like a radio station, like when
low bar. Yeah, that's right. I'm the low hanging fruit here, aren't I?
Yeah, you are a fruit.
Wow.
Your fruit does hang the lowest.
I mean, that's probably the homosexual slur a person from the 1940s would use.
Wow. Okay. Well, this show's
they
taken
got
off the air.
The Sopranos. Anyway, whatever. Okay, are we ready to give some final thoughts here?
Be better before we get canceled. So
yeah.
If we haven't already been canceled, we should be.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've already been canceled. We only have.
Well, I heard today Trump just canceled all the transgender and males from the female Olympics and female sports.
That Trump, he's a troublemaker. That Trump, you know.
I mean, I agree with that though. Like, anyway, that's another story.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's not get too political here.
No.
How's your beer Moretti drinking?
Moretti is quite good. I did make some tasting notes. It's a very clean, crisp beer. Very had a nice head on it. Still a lot of lacing. The glass is still kind of, you still get a little bit of lacing on the sides, right? It has a dry finish. It is a lager, but the taste profile is a barley, apricot, and apple kind of. There's no cardboard taste in it at all. But it's the good apple, not the crappy apple, right? Very amber. Yeah, the crappy apple, crab apple. Very amber in color, but good carbonation. Anyway, very good beer. Enjoying it a lot. I wish I bought a 6-pack instead of just a single.
Nice. All right. So what do you give it for rating?
Out
of 10.
Out of 10?
Out of 10 for style and for overall.
Okay. For style, I'm going to give it an 8. It's probably not your everyday drinking lager. And lagers aren't usually, supposed to be as refined as this. I don't know if it's widespread in Italy or not, but it is quite good. I wouldn't mind, having one with an Italian dinner on a side street or something. Wouldn't be pretty good.
Italian lady, maybe.
Yep. Mamma mia! For personal preference, I'll give it an 8.5. Yeah, it's one of my better lagers.
Nice. All right. I think that really means we might actually have to do this BA 101 because we haven't yet. All right. Okay. Thank you, Scott. Let's move over to Mr. Lee. He's going to tell us about his tatamouche, his tatas.
You're weird.
He's weird today. Just today. It's just really bad today.
Just today, he's absolutely totally fine every other day.
I just suddenly became weird now.
He's the most flatline guy on this show. He's but tonight he's just off the rails.
Oh, Schwitz. I mean, what can I tell you?
The Nick Extreme.
Anyway, my beer.
Follow that.
So it's the way I kind of look at this after drinking it for a while now, it definitely separates itself from just like your typical European sort of like black lager or whatever, or even like a Sapporo black or something along those lines, where kind of the roasted note is like the big note in it, to the point where sometimes it's like just the dominant thing you taste in those beers. You get that in this. I mean, you smell a bit of the roast coming up from the dark malts when you're taking in the aroma, but there's a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of a kind of a graham cracker kind of character to it, and that all sort of carries over to the taste. You get a little bit of baker's chocolate, a little bit of sweet chocolate, a little bit, almost a small caramel note, but like mostly it's the malt base is just like a nice graham crackery kind of thing, not overly sweet or anything like that, but just kind of dry and nice. The roasted malt kind of note is smaller than what you'd get in most sort of European style, just straight up black lagers or dark lagers, because this is kind of balanced out with the Saaz hops that are employed in it. So it's still got kind of like a slightly lighter body and drinkability of like just like a Czech Pilsner. So you got a little bit of that kind of earthy, kind of herbal Saaz hops kind of thing going on in the finish. So it's kind of a best of both worlds kind of idea, where it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of a dark lager, but it's still kind of a Pilsner as well. Sort of half and half. And I guess maybe saying that makes it sound a bit more complex than it actually is. Like, it's not super complex. It's pretty much just the notes I said. But it makes for a slightly unique kind of drink from that region when it comes to lagers, where, usually dark lagers either go all in on certain notes, and Pilsners go all in on certain notes. This is kind of like marrying those two worlds together a little bit. And I think it does a pretty good job of it. So
would it pair well with a s'more?
It might.
Sounds good, yeah.
It might very well, because you get the sweetness from the s'more itself, and like just the graham crackerness from this. Yeah, it might work. It might work. So just kind of going on like a general European like dark lager kind of style, I guess. I like that it's unique. I like that it does some things a little bit different. I think I find it more accessible too. Like, I think this is like a dark lager that people could like get into who are not used to drinking dark beers with kind of a roasty note to them. I got to put a 9 for style, and my own personal preference, 9. I like it a lot. I think it's a really good dark lager that has a few interesting different notes that make it worthwhile checking out. So yeah.
Did you say it was a little bit sweet?
Well, that's the thing. There's a little teeny sweetness on like the sides of the tongue and stuff, but it's not what I'd call a sweet beer at all. Like it's just got like a kind of sweet, like little touches of caramel, little touches of chocolate in there.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, this is much more like a dry graham crackery and then like roasty kind of malt character kind of thing going on. And then the Saaz hops that are employed also, I think, just kind of add to that, because they bring up like an earthy kind of mineral thing usually. And it feels like that's coming into play with this one. So it's definitely not something that's going to give you diabetes the second you drink it or anything like that. Like, there's no cloying sweetness or anything in it.
Right. And from what you describe, it sounds like it would, like a chocolate caramel, little notes with graham crackers. I mean, that's all campfire. That's all s'mores. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and then it's a nice dark lager, something very accessible.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it feels like, you know, because there's plenty of like sort of European style dark lagers that they go so hard on like the sort of the malt roast that like they end up tasting like burnt French fries or something like that.
Yeah, they go too hard on it.
Yeah, and then it would turn someone off. Like I think someone who's just used to like lighter lagers, if they tried this as their first dark lager, it would be like, oh, I can get into that because it's still got like some qualities I can sort of recognize from like just a usual.
Wait, back in 2 seconds, I can still hear everything.
Light lager, and yeah, but it's different. It'd be like an introduction to a new world kind of thing.
A transition beer, something to transition into, you know, into a dark or into a pilsner.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting.
All right.
But so I gave double nines in case you missed that.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
I was paying attention this time. It sounds good. I like the sound of that one. I kind of hope that if they break down interprovincial trade barriers and shit like that we get more Tattagouche stuff here, because I would buy that.
Well, I mean, if I were you, Nick, I would do like a Tattagouche order this week if you wanted to grab it, because
it's gonna be gone.
No, well, it might also be gone because I think it's just like it's just going to be here for a few weeks or whatever. But also, unfortunately, Tattagouche has had to up their shipping prices. It's starting sometime this month.
Oh,
so now
also save taxes for another week or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
true.
So used to be any order over $95 in the Maritimes, you'd get free shipping. Now it's going to be $150 free shipping in the Maritimes. And if you want to order outside of the Maritimes, anywhere else in Canada, it's now $175 before you get free shipping.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I think at that price, I mean, it'd be cheaper just for me to drive down and go to the liquor store and buy some,
or have someone fly you down.
Yeah, go hitch a ride on Justin's Tesla.
Fly airplane, buddy.
Justin's swastika.
He bought it well. He bought it well before he knew.
Yeah,
Nick.
He bought it before he knew that Elon was a racist. Oh, so no, I mean, he's got a Polestar now. I'm assuming he sold the Tesla by now.
He did not.
Well, shit. So, all right. Thank you, Lee. Let's move on over to the Gregor.
Yeah, see, Justin should have avoided electric altogether and just bought a nice practical Corvette like the rest of us. Not a Camaro, because that's a status symbol, but a nice practical Corvette. You know, put the kids in.
He's a purchaser of a plane.
Yeah, that's not a status symbol. It's just a grocery getter.
True. It terrifies me that his plane's from the 60s, too. I'm just like, oh.
He owns a third of a plane.
Yeah.
Do you have a plane?
I don't own any portion of a plane whatsoever, so Justin is clearly ahead of me. But
how's your beer, Greg?
I don't own any Teslas either, so.
Yeah. How's your beer?
How's my beer? Well, let's talk about this beer. So I did mention that they've changed the base stout of this, right? So I want that established, that we know that, okay? Let's start with the positives. Gives you sticky lips. It's a very sticky stout. Very thick stout. Nobody, even Paul, would not call this thin. This is not thin whatsoever. All right, that's enough with the positives. So again, the base stout they use, the We're Not Dead, is not good at all. And I had that beer a few years ago. They only released it once. I don't think they'll ever release it again because it was like, oh, this is not good. So in order for that stout to work, in order for Bring Out Your Dead to work, that base stout needs to be tamed with something that is not a sweetish liqueur, sweetish or sweet liqueur or liquor. So I'm not a barrel person. I don't work for a brewery, but based on how thick and syrupy the base stout is, I would think you need to barrel age this in an Isla cask, maybe a good American bourbon, something like that. Although bourbon can come out as sweet too, depending how it barrel ages. Maybe something like a tequila or something. That might work. Putting it in an Armagnac, which is already a fairly sweet liquor. I'm not super familiar with Armagnac. I think I've had it once or twice before, but it's a type of brandy. I mean, brandy in general is a fairly sweet liquor. Cognac is a fairly sweet liquor. I mean, cognac often has sugar and shit added to it, but so to take this very sweet stout and then put it in a barrel that is going to continue to emphasize that sweetness, to me seems like a massive mistake. I feel the old Hellwoods, which was more of a stouty kind of dark chocolate, coffee-ish imperial stout, which is the kind of stout I prefer. I know some people prefer sweet stouts. I prefer more of a stouty stout, for lack of a better term. And I felt that dealt with the original cognac barrels that the original Bring Our Dead was aged in. It dealt with it very well, and kind of the sweetness and the stoutiness offset each other, made for an excellent beer. The problem with this is you're compounding sweetness with sweetness. It's like, I don't know how much more sweet you can make this unless you fucking just add maple syrup to it. So I feel whoever runs Bellwood's barrel aging, and they actually did name him, because when they were advertising this, he was like, oh, he prepped this for a very special 2025 vintage, because they're also hyping up the fact that they brought out the old logo and the name and stuff. So they're hyping that on their social media, which admittedly has suckered me in. I bought it because I was like, I'm not going to buy it this year. Oh, I'm going to buy it this year.
Name him and shame him, Greg. Let's get him fired. Come on.
Well, they know who he is. I'd have to look up on social media who he is. But anyway, whoever's in charge of their barrel age, again, he may not actually be the one who decided what they're going to barrel age it in. That may be the owners of Bellwoods. I don't know. I think whoever decided they're going to stick a very syrupy sweet stout in Armagnac barrels is a fucking idiot. Pardon the pun, no offense. Or whatever nice thing I could do to smooth that over. But no, he's a fucking idiot. Or she. It could have been a she. I don't know. And I don't want to be sexist. So, I mean, as it is, this is a fucking awful example of what a barrel-aged stout should be. And if I was a brewery, I'd be ashamed to bring this thing out, because, I mean, first of all, there's no carbonation to it. I mean, well, okay, there's a tiny bit of carbonation. That's from shaking it. When I poured it, there's no pop, no nothing, which, again, it doesn't have to be for a barrel-aged beer. I like to have a little bit of carbonation, but just that they release this and they think this is something to be proud of. I'd be like, again, if you really love a sweet beer, like I have the feeling if Dan had this beer or Chris had this beer, they may have a very different opinion than me because they like sweet stuff. But to me, somebody who doesn't like sweet stuff, this is like, it's way too fucking sweet. And it's just like, I feel that could have been prevented if you had just done a different kind of barrel aging to it that actually toned down that sweetness a little bit. And they've done some barrel aged ones before. Cause I mean, again, this base beer has been around for a while and they have toned it down. I mean, I'm not going to say it's ever been amazing as it was when they did the Hellwoods as the base, but they have made it has been better in the past. And this one is just, I mean, I'll say it forces you to sip it because I can't drink this fast at all. So
would it be better if they had an amaretto base on it?
No, I think that would make it probably worse.
Sweet.
It would kill Greg. Like, and you know, for context, people watching who maybe don't know, Greg is like, you know how you have like drug sniffing dogs that can like sniff it's like a particle of cocaine somewhere. If there's a grain of sugar anywhere in anything, Greg will taste it and he'll go, "Oh God!"
That's true. I have an anti-sweet too, so that is accurate. So take my review with a grain of salt. If you're
grain of sugar.
Grain of salt.
I'm not a fan of sweet stuff either.
Grain of salt and lime and with that tequila.
Like gauge your own interest. If you like sweet stuff, then,
I don't at all.
Maybe disregard my review and maybe this is the beer for you. But for me, I really can't.
I don't like bitter, but I definitely don't like too sweet. Like no.
Yeah. Like this is like I'm trying to compare it to something, but it's like a really dark. Like okay, you know those like.
I definitely avoid sweet stuff. Yeah.
You know, like your aunt or like a cousin or something at Christmas, they don't know what the fuck to get you, so they'll just buy you one of those boxes of chocolate, and they're like liqueur chocolates, and you bite into them, and they're just like, oh, especially as a kid, you're like, oh, liqueur, there's booze in this. I'm so excited. Then you bite into it, just like, oh, this is so sweet, so gross. I mean, that's kind of what this is, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, like when I was a kid, it was like eating liqueur chocolates. It's just like, oh yeah, I get drunk off of these.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Those Bailey's chocolates, or
Then you realize, oh, these aren't so good. So coming up to my score. So as a barrel age, I typically I like to score my. I usually tend to go higher on style. Yes, I do like to score, Nick. I do like to put my style a little bit higher than my personal enjoyment, but in this case, I'm not going to, because I think this is a egregious example of a poorly done barrel aged beer. So I'm gonna go with a 4 on the style. I think this is it's not right above. I mean, I almost want to go to a 3, where 3 is kind of where it gets to gross, but it is drinkable. It's not gross to the point where it's not drinkable. So I think a 4 is fair. It's whoever decided to do this barrel combination, I should say should get fired, but the reality is this beer is going to sell out, and most people are probably going to rate it pretty highly. So they're probably going to end up getting a nice bonus at Christmas saying, great job, nice work. So what the fuck do I know? I'm not a beer reviewer. I don't make money making beer. So, hey, more power to them. I'm sure they're a wonderful human being. But personal enjoyment, again, I'm most of the way through this. It is 11.3%, and right now I'm pretty happy. So that's going to definitely skew my rating. I'm going to go with a 6 on my overall enjoyment, where I admit I'm being generous on that, but right now, you know what? It's a decent sipper. If I went to Nick's house and Nick offered me one of these, I would drink it. I wouldn't complain about it. Would I buy it again with my own money? No, I wouldn't. So that's where I'm at with that. Like, it's a poor example, but hey, it's a beer, it's high alcohol, so I'm enjoying it the more I sip it.
Jeez. Despite the,
I mean, if that's the only condition of a good rating, I mean, go out and get some malt liquor.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure a 6 is a good rating. It's maybe it's kind of like an okay plus.
Wow, that's like, considering it's free or dead, that's a really fucking low rating.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very generous to that beer over the years. And
didn't we BA that one year?
But that was a long time ago. That was like the only one that brought the score down was Ashley, because he got the infected bottle. Yeah. That was still when that beer is amazing, Nick. One of these days I'll get you a current bottle to bring your dead for you to try, and you'll see that it's not the beer it used to be.
Yeah, we did the 2018 bottle. That was the year you bought an entire case of it, and some of them spoiled.
So 2018, I believe, was the 4th vintage of it. I believe that was the 4th vintage. And that was 17. Yeah, so I think they were still using the current the Hellwoods back then. I think at some point after that they switched over to this beer, to this base, whatever the fuck it is.
That I'm Not Dead. I remember drinking the I'm Not Dead at the Quispam Piss Up.
Yeah,
which happened at the Amsterdam and Quispam there, Brandon.
And you know what? And it was funny because in my head as an old school Bellwoods guy, I always remember, Bring Out Your Dead. It's Hellwoods barrel aged. But then actually Carrie mentioned, I don't know if we were doing a review or it was just an offline hangout. He's like, no, they had the I'm Not Dead, and that's not Hellwoods. I'm like, you're right. I need to figure this out. So I did a little further research.
You sent me I'm Not Dead one year.
Did you? What'd you think of it?
It was a little on the sweet side, and it was flat. I didn't mind it, but it was
Sounds
too
about
flat.
right.
Yeah, that was. I think I liked it better than you did, but it was pretty much the same tasting notes. But yeah, you sent me that, and you sent me Double Barrel. Bring It Your Dead. It was like cognac and then something else. I think one was whiskey and one was rye or something like that.
Yeah.
And I had them. We had them at like in 2021. We had the Quispamsis Piss Up where we all gathered to actually hear in Quispamsis, and we had a get together at the Amsterdam Inn in Quispam.
Oh,
where, yeah, and we split. I'm Not Dead, and the 2 Double Barrel Bring Out Your Deads, and I think it was one of the Double Barrel Bring Out Your Deads that made Carrie want to puke in the.
Oh yeah, so that
remember?
that was the year where they brought out 2 of the Double Barrel Bring Out Your Deads. I probably have them there. I think it was, I think they did a rye barrel. So I think they were both. From what I remember that year,
something else, I think.
From what I remember, I think they're both the regular Bring Out Your Dead. So is the Bring Out Your Dead in cognac barrels, which is the sort of the standard Bring Out Your Dead. They've sort of changed it over the years. And then they took the cognac barrel aged version. I think one of them got a second barrel aging in rye. The other one got a second barrel aging in bourbon. And
that could be it. Yeah.
I believe that's what they did with that year, because they released those both at the same time. And yes, one of them made Carrie sick, and apparently it was not that, or it was not the floor pizza, and it was definitely not the that him and Guy drank like fucking frat boys for 3, 4, 5 days. The 2 of them drank hard. Now I will go on record saying, Carrie, Guy, you guys can fucking outdrink me any day of the week, because you guys, the amount you guys drank was incredible, and the fact that you were still standing after that was impressive. But eventually it catches up with you. It just totally does.
Anyway, yeah, but I do remember having the one you had. Do you remember?
I mean, we could go back to the videos at some point, but do you remember if you liked them or not? I'm out of curiosity.
Oh yeah, I really like the Double Barrel ones. But I remember that was like we had one of them, and it set Terry off. Like as soon as we drank it, he just sort of curled up in the chair and began to die.
Yeah,
so it was the bad pizza that we all.
Yeah, it was the bad pizza that we all ate.
Oh yeah, well, this is the floor pizza. Once it hits the floor, it's no good.
Yeah, well, the owner of that pizza place ended up being a pederast. So
he was the only one that went into the fetal position.
I love their donair pizza. Their donair pizza was good.
Do you remember Casey's Pizza in Rosse?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, their donair pizza was good.
Yeah,
I like their donair pizza.
We all had their pizza, and Gary's the only one that got sick.
Oh, okay.
And he
is his pedo detector more tuned than the rest of you guys?
Oh, yeah, he ended up having.
It was good pizza, but yeah, buddy, who owned the place, yeah.
Yeah, what was
Maybe
it
is. You said he's playing video games with 12-year-olds right now.
He's playing games with 12-year-olds.
Hey, listen. He's got YouTube money now, so like I don't want to be sued for libel. So listen, all we're saying is he's playing games with 12-year-olds. We're not playing anything else.
He might do that to us, even though we
do a takedown or whatever. Anyway. But
all right,
listen. I'm sure that had nothing to do with the floor pizza making him sick. I mean,
sure.
Unless there's some secret sauce added, who knows?
You never know. All right, let's. Thank you, Greg. Let's go over to Brandon.
Brandon already gave his stuff. Mine's
short and simple. It's I already drank it, but it's basically it's a lager, and I found it not as watery as like a Bud Light or a Coors Light. Obviously, it was a little thicker, but it wasn't as skunky. I found it similar to the Stella Artois, but not as skunky, and a little slightly more hoppy, and it had a bit of slight like fruity taste, but I'm not really good at describing it. Sorry,
no, it's good. It's fine.
It was there was some notes in there that were a little fruitier than like a typical lager, but it smells really vanilla. If you smell it, it smells like vanilla to me. But I found it.
Already got Scott's food.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'd give it probably a 7.5.
Ooh. Is that 7? Is that style or is that overall or both?
I'd say both overall. It's
Right.
I actually prefer it over Stella, just as that less skunkiness. It's still carbonated, but it doesn't. The carbonation doesn't feel as strong because it's a little bit. I don't want to say sweeter, but slightly smoother. I'd say. I actually like it a little better than Stella, and I usually like Stella Artois, but Stella Artois just got more of a skunkiness to it.
Yeah.
It's like take Stella Artois and take a little less carbonation and a little less skunkiness, and this is slightly sweeter, but
sounds good.
Sorry, it doesn't really describe it as well as.
Yeah, you're doing fine.
I'm a complete noob at this. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Mine's short and sweet.
We're all making shit up.
All good.
Yeah, it's all good, dude. You're doing great.
Don't
all
worry
right. Thanks, Brandon. All right, so let's put it over to me, and I'll talk about the grand derangement, the expulsion of the Acadians. Obviously, they came back, and some of them are still around. I'm pretty sure there's some Acadian blood in me. So, grand derangement from the Fistois. This, I gotta say, it's probably the closest beer. And like I said at the start of this thing, like it was supposed to be like a beer that's similar to Duvel. I feel like this thing is actually more closer to Orval, like, which is technically, I guess it's technically a British, like a Belgian strong blonde as well. But I feel like it's got a very big, noticeable Brettanomyces sour note to the, like that crisp skin of a grape kind of tasting note, like
It's got some horse blanket going on, Nick.
Yeah, a little bit of the horse blanket. Yeah, I haven't heard that term in a while. Wow, that made up shit. I wouldn't say it's as funky as horse blanket is, but it definitely has that like like slightly sour kind of tastes like the tannic skin of a grape or like some kind of fruit.
When we did that tour, the owner was he would tell us that he blends different barrel ages together. Would this be an example of that?
I don't think this says anything about being barrel aged.
Oh,
so, but yeah, I do remember him saying that. I think that'd be more like if he was making spirits or some kind of barrel aged beer.
I'm still listening. I'm just gonna be 2 seconds. My mini fridge downstairs here died, so I just been around upstairs grabbing a drink.
All right, grab another beer before they go get one. All right, so yeah, we actually, when we were there, we actually talked to Sebastian Roy himself, the one of the sons of Roy. Anyway, so yeah, it's got this kind of like grape raisin notes, like just light grape raisin notes, and like that sour skin of a grape, a little bit hits of pear, touch grainy in it. Otherwise it's a very clean tasting beer with a lingering sour bitterness. Yes, Jamie, I'm drinking a high ABV saison right now. No, it's not high ABV saison, but it's got a great friggin' body on it. I would say that this kind of is very reminiscent of Orval, but maybe not nearly as complex. But boy, am I fucking enjoying this! Like, this, like, of all the bottle here, this is all I have left because I've been kind of hoovering through this all night while we listen to Greg and Brandon talk. But this is quite good. I do freaking like it. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 for both style and for the beer, for overall enjoyment. Just because I would get this again. I didn't happen to check the ABL website to see if there's any more of this. I think it says there's 2 bottles left in KV. I don't know if we'll get another one. But the other thing that's really weirds me out about this beer is that as much as I want to like check it in on Untappd, it's not on Untappd. In fact, it's not on our website. And Grand Derangement, I can't even Google it. Like, there's nothing on Google about this as well. Like, what the hell?
Weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. But I would say that this is definitely one of the better beers that Fistois makes, and they make some pretty excellent stuff.
Perhaps the grand derangement, Nick, is that you're imagining all of this, and we're all figments of your imagination.
It is deranged.
It's the old taller.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It's taller. Anyway, yep, this is
Super
pretty
tall
tasty.
can. Yeah.
Pretty tasty shit.
Okay, so now that we've, did you give your score? 9. You said nines, right?
I get 8.5 for each.
8.5. Okay, cool.
I would
Now that you've given your scores, maybe we should go over who would you like to drink more?
Who would I like to drink more? Scott, I would like to drink you. No. We're talking about who of all the. Let's go around. Scott, this first. Of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you have liked to have tried?
I would have liked to tried Lee's.
Lee's?
Yep, I think I could sit around a campfire with Lee's and be, something that you can just kind of pound back and have a s'more with. It's a very campfire-y beer. And that's the level where I would like to drink a beer at.
Yeah, look good.
Campfire.
Yeah. All right.
Looks like good, relaxing beer.
Sounds good. Let's go over to Lee. And Lee, of all the beers you heard here tonight, which one would you like to have tried?
Second, you said somewhat like Orval. Sealed the deal for me, Nick. I would definitely like to try that beer for sure.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Orval's just one of my all-time favorites. So if it's got a little bit of that horse blanket in there, baby, a little bit of that barnyard funky cheese, baby, the Dusty Rhodes would have some of that.
Getting, like the funky cheese, but that crisp, like skin, the grape, like tannic fruit note. Like I'm getting that in droves. It tastes like they use Brett's. All right. Thank you, Lee. Let's go over to
R.I.P. Dusty Rhodes. R.I.P. Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes, baby. Living in the American dream up in heaven. All right. Maybe not in heaven, whatever.
Which would I rather drink?
Which would you rather have tried, Greg?
I mean,
it's like who's got the highest ABV? That would be me at 80.5.
Yeah, what's everyone's ABV? Tell me, I'll just vote for the highest one. You know what? Let's just vote for Scott because Scott seems pretty interesting. I mean, none of these sound super interesting, but Scott sounds like it would be interesting to try. I always like a good European beer.
Can't you get beer Moretti in Ontario?
Probably. I probably tried it before, but still gonna vote for Scott.
All right, Brandon.
I'm thinking Lee's just because it seemed interesting how he said it was kind of in between a Pilsner and a stout. I never had too many stouts I liked, but I kind of like to try that one because it's kind of in between. And as I'm experimenting more, it seems more kind of up my alley that it seems to hit certain notes that I think I would enjoy.
It's a gateway beer, like I said before, a gateway beer.
Yeah, and how you said it seems like something you'd find good around like a bonfire type thing, like s'mores and stuff. Like it seems like something I would have, not something I would sit and drink a lot of, but have one or two. Like I definitely
You always have to enjoy responsibly for sure, right?
Yeah. Certain things I could say certain things I would like to drink a few at a time, but then certain things that I drink, it's like I like it, but I can only handle like one at a time. But I feel like I definitely want to try.
It's a gateway beer, not an E-Machines beer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh God. Anyway. All right. Thank you, Brandon. And that actually
that Nick, that was a very old reference. I don't think Brandon would have gotten that.
Nick's a very old man.
I worked at Staples for years. I was a tech consultant for like 12 years.
Yeah, like Brandon probably knows what an E-Machines is.
E-Machines were like phasing out when I worked at Staples. Yeah.
Like he worked at Staples longer than I did. So okay. My thoughts on whose beer did I pick tonight? Well, I'll break it down. I've had beer already. I want to try it again, and I'm thinking we should do it for BA 101. Greg's Bellwood's Bring It You're Dead does not sound interesting this year. Sounds like too cloyingly sweet. If Greg hates it, then I imagine I'd like it better, but not interesting enough to want to go out of my way for it. So that leaves between Lee's and Brandon's, and Lee sounds interesting. So yeah, I definitely kind of curious about it. I feel like it's a bit more accessible than the one that Brandon's got. And Brandon's kind of got one where I've been kind of been wanting to try that for ages, and it actually sounds kind of decent. And I don't know why. I'm
it's just a
voting for
lager,
some
but
kind of-
for a lager,
yeah, like
to me, out of all the lagers I've had, like lager's a typical beer I've always ever drank, and it's probably the best lager I've ever had, honestly.
And I will say
Yeah,
this, Brandon's been saying, "Oh, I'm not very good at this reviewing stuff." I just did a quick because I've never had Kingfisher, as far as I know. So I just did a quick little scan of like random reviews on Google that I was looking for, and a lot of them bring up vanilla as a note in Kingfisher.
Wow.
I smelled vanilla,
Yeah,
but I never really
Lee's-
tasted it as much, but I smelled it.
Lee's secretly checking to see if you're full of
Yeah.
shit, Brandon.
Yeah, I was
never
just
actually
checking his
had
bona
time to do
fides. That's
research.
what I was
Yeah,
doing.
know. Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Yep. So that
I feel a
I
little
guess
more
that
confident
means-
now. Thanks.
So yeah, I guess that means my vote's for Brandon. But Lee's a close second, which doesn't really matter anyway because Lee's got 2 votes amongst everybody else having 1. That
Suck it,
means
nerds.
that Lee is
Yeah.
tonight's winner with
Yeah.
Tatamagouche Zero Czech Dark Lager, which
Awesome.
despite me not
Yeah.
voting for, I feel like it would still be a very tasty beer.
That's awesome. Probably gonna get that here,
Everybody's beer sounded great tonight. Even Greg with his cloyingly sweet.
we probably can't get that here, can we, Nick? I probably have to wait till the next time I go to Halifax.
What's that?
Lee's beer.
Well, I mean, they brew like it's like a one-off brew or something. They brew like you have to order online or something. Or
Oh, you ordered it online.
You
You
can probably get it at the Tatamagouche Brewery as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jamie's like you
You never
can
bought it
tat on
locally,
my
you ordered
gooch
it?
anytime.
I heard you already had tattoos on your gooch, so.
So
Pervert.
so Scott's saying, what's next week's beer? We didn't really talk about next week's beer.
So where
Can-
did you get it, Lee? Did you order it?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Oh, okay, you had to order it. Okay. How much do you have to order, or how does that work? Or where did you order it from?
I ordered it. Well, you just go to the Tatamagouche Brewing website, and
Oh, okay.
and then they send it by courier to you.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Who's that fat guy in that picture?
How much did you order? Or if you don't want me asking what shipping was for you, I know it would be different for me because I'm in a whole different province. It would be totally different, but
Well,
it might not even be
well,
available.
no, their shipping rate is the same in the Maritimes.
Okay.
So all the Maritime provinces.
Because I know still fire distilleries will ship like I like Grandma's apple pie moonshine. I get like that, and it's like a shipping rate and stuff. But
Yeah. So they're changing their like I mentioned earlier in the show. They're changing their shipping. So like they're upping it to if you do an order of $150 or more, you'll get free shipping. I think they're still at the point where it's. I don't think they've changed it over quite yet. So like there's still a window of time where you can do an order for them, and it's $95 or more.
Okay.
And then you can get this.
Did you
free
do you
shipping.
order to get the free shipping, or if you don't want me asking what you pay for shipping, if you don't want me asking?
Yeah, no. Every time I've ordered from Tatamagouche, I've gone above their free shipping.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Not to be nosy, just curious. Yeah.
Oh no, that's fine. It's not like you're
But
asking.
it would almost be worth it for me to get an order together and just drive over to Tatamagouche and pick it up.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not that far out of the way. It'd be a couple hours drive or whatever. But
where's Tatamagouche roughly? Yeah.
It's in Truro, so it's.
Oh, Truro. Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's.
Just outside of Truro.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be, it for us in St. John, it might be a tank of gas for my Civic, and a tank of gas is like $60.
It's like 2.5 hour drive, or yeah. Well, my buddy, for me to get from my house to my buddies in Halifax is 4 hours, pretty much.
Yeah, so you could do the thing to Tatamagouche in probably like 2 hours most.
Yeah.
So appears that beer.
Sorry, what's it called again? If you don't ask it.
What's that? The beer I had?
Yeah.
It's the Zero Dark Lager.
Zero Dark Lager. Okay.
Czech style dark lager or Czech dark lager.
How do you spell that? Sorry.
SERO.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry to be.
Oh yeah.
No.
Beer Moretti doesn't seem to be available at the NSLC.
Yeah, no, it's one of those ones that they don't ship out to like NSLC or anything else.
Oh yeah.
So I guess that one's out. I did notice that NSLC, like including the one in Kingston, has
I actually do want to try it now.
Bellwood's Jelly King.
Yeah, we do.
I have a can of Jelly King sitting in the fridge.
I think I told you that. I think I told you that a while ago that I can get Bellwood's Jelly King. Yeah.
Is it just the regular Jelly King?
I think it is
regular Jelly King.
It's a sour, right? I never
tried it. Let me actually see if I can get the regular one because they have a lot. They go through a lot of different flavors on that.
So what's next week's beer? Do we decide?
Somerset Street's got 15 cans of Jelly King left, so Scott could get one. So yeah, there you go. So we have. I hadn't really decided because like this week was supposed to be BYOB brewed and bottled, but we ended up doing just a blanket.
It's close enough. And yes, I can get Jelly King if you want to do Jelly King.
Okay, why don't we do Jelly King next week then? Bellwood's Jelly King. Because I've got a can in the fridge. That's easy. I can just drink that. And if Brandon wants to get it, they got it at both KV, East Point, and Somerset. Bellwood's Jelly King.
What's that?
It's sour.
Oh yeah, I like sours.
Yeah, like I'll show you.
Beers I've loved in the last few years. I really like sours. I love trying.
Yeah, like right here.
Sours.
Bellwood's Brewery, Jelly King.
I have a sour in my fridge right now, actually, that I'm about to drink probably this weekend. Actually, give me 1 second. Let's see what I got in my fridge right now.
Casas Valley. There's 23 cans on the west side. There's 31 cans at East Point. 15 cans at Somerset Street. So Scott's right by Scott's place. You can get there's 15 cans there by the superstore. So I imagine, given the AMBL, it's probably all the same batch that I've got still sitting in the fridge that I bought a couple of months ago. But I've been holding onto that can to do a BA 101 on it. So hey, why not?
Yeah, you have one? Jelly King.
We're doing Bellwood's Jelly King list. So
you said you have one?
Yeah, I got one.
Nice.
But yeah, you can get one easy if you wanted to go to like Somerset or East Point.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. We'll talk about your work.
Yeah. Where's that from?
Ontario.
Bellwoods, Ontario.
That's the same brewery that Greg did with the Bring Out Your Dead.
Yep.
Okay.
Same.
Nice.
Same guy. See.
Yeah,
Bellwoods.
We've never done a BA. Yeah, we did a BA 101 on Bellwoods. We did the Bring Out Your Dead.
We must have done a few Bellwoods at this point, I think.
Yeah. Well, not a lot, because I can't get Bellwoods. Well, I can now.
I used to be nice and send them to you, but I'm not a good friend anymore.
Well, part of it's because I'm also not asking to, because
this is true.
It was around the time you moved in your mom's house, so. And then you just said you're not doing beer mails anymore for a bit.
Oh.
But, I've always been one like, okay, well, you send them to me, but I pay you back for them. And,
hey, Nick.
Like, what?
I don't recall saying I wouldn't do beer mail.
Saying wrap it up. Beer mail. Yeah, we've been doing this for over an hour and a half now. We might as well take this
Nick, I have a lot of bubble wraps, so you tell me what you want. And
it's not even bad, really. If I was to get beer shipped to me from that Tatamagouche place, it'd be, it's still pretty pricey, but $16.70 for shipping. If I really wanted them.
That's
pretty pricey.
Still not bad.
Yeah, just buy over $150 and
get your money. That's the price of a few beer.
Yeah, but
if you buy enough beer, it's free, right?
If I really wanted
them. How many beers do you drink in a month?
That's
get
a
month's supply.
That's if I was buying 12 of them. If I was buying 12 of them for $55, that would be.
Well, yeah, Yeah, I think they're still on the $95.
They're $16.70 shipping Canada Post.
Yeah, so why don't you just up your order a little bit to like above $95 and
95 is the limit?
Yeah, 95 is the limit right now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're gonna up it in the next few weeks.
And it's free shipping all through the Maritimes. So there's other things I can probably get there too, yeah.
All right, we're gonna take the shit offline next week. We're gonna do Bellwoods. Yeah, Jamie changed stock accounts.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Nick,
Mike
we
Tyson
should
was watching.
we should end off the show with a word from our sponsors.
Sure.
When you say taco, say 59 cents. That's all it takes.
Oh, penis. It's Scott's penis today. It seems a little fuller than Carrie's penis.
Yeah, Gary's not here to do it, so fill in. Someone's gonna fill in. That's awesome.
All right. Yeah, have a good night, folks.
All right. Good night.
Cheers.
Cheers, motherfuckers.